It was a quiet night in the sky. The automated telescopes were doing what they always do, watching. Among thousands of familiar stars, a new point of light appeared. Faint, almost shy, glowing green like a faded emerald, it blinked softly against the darkness. At first, no one paid attention. Space is full of passing lights, reflections, noise, forgotten asteroids. But this one felt different. It moved with a rhythm of its own, calm and deliberate, unlike the restless motion of ordinary stars. It was as if it were breathing, alive and aware. Over the following nights, the point began to drift. Slowly, without hurry, it slid across the star field. Each evening, it appeared in a new position, refusing to follow the predictable dance of the solar system. Its path was free, a lonely line through the constellations. Astronomers soon realized it wasn't coming back. Its route was hyperbolic, a path that touches the solar system only once before escaping forever. It wasn't a local. It was a traveler, a wanderer crossing the void for billions of years. The soft green light grew stronger, as if the comet was slowly awakening. Its glow was calm, steady, almost meditative, brightening as it neared the sun, reflecting a history far older than humanity itself. The three-eye atlas made no sound. It didn't explode or flare with drama. It simply moved on, patient and silent, a kind of beauty that doesn't need to announce itself, only to be noticed. As it traveled, its presence felt almost spiritual, a reminder that the universe is always moving even when no one is watching. Some said it felt like an omen, others just a comet. But to those who truly looked, the three-eye atlas was something more. A whisper from another star system, a quiet reminder that the infinite still speaks to us, in silence. And so, the traveler was seen. Not with alarm, but with wonder. A distant glow born from a place where time might not even have a name. The Atlas system in Hawaii was scanning the sky as usual. Its job was to detect anything that might pose a threat to Earth. But that night, it caught something else, something peaceful, something different. A calm green light, coming from too far to be dangerous, yet close enough to intrigue. The computers analyzed the data and confirmed it. This object didn't follow the usual asteroid pattern. Its speed was too great, its angle too strange. It seemed to be coming from another star system, simply passing through ours. Astronomers double-checked the images, no mistake. The comet was real. An interstellar visitor, the third ever identified by humankind. The code 3I became its name, and Atlas, a tribute to the system that found it. That night, Hawaii's sky was crystal clear. The cameras captured its soft green light, steady and graceful. Nothing explosive, nothing urgent. Just a traveler passing by, the kind of discovery that doesn't change your day but changes how you see the universe. As the images spread, the world reacted with quiet curiosity. Scientists gathered, telescopes turned, and the comet, indifferent to it all, kept gliding through space. The three-eye atlas didn't belong anywhere. It wasn't bound to the sun, nor to the rules that hold other celestial bodies in orbit. It simply moved on. A cosmic reminder that not everything that shines is from here. There was something almost human about its journey. A lonely traveler crossing the darkness without haste, observing worlds it would never touch. Each movement was a poem in slow motion. And so, Atlas, the eye of the sky, recorded the beginning of a new story. A story told not with sound, but with light, distance, and stillness. In the vastness of the universe, Three-Eye Atlas continued on its path, serene and untouchable, a soft reminder that the unknown doesn't always arrive with noise. Sometimes it just passes by, leaves a trace of light, and moves on. The name 3i Atlas may sound technical, almost cold, but behind those three letters hides a quiet revelation. 3i means the third interstellar object ever found by humankind. Atlas honors the system that first saw it, the eyes that noticed its passage through the dark. Before it, only two other travelers had crossed our skies, the enigmatic Oumuamua in 2017 and the luminous 2i Borisov in 2019. Each arrived without warning, each changed how we understand the galaxy. Yet 3i Atlas is different, larger, brighter, more alive. Its glow, a shade of green almost unreal, reminded scientists that the color of light can tell stories. That hue meant carbon, frozen, ancient, preserved since the dawn of the galaxy. What we were seeing wasn't just ice and dust, it was memory, shining. When astronomers traced its trajectory, they realized something even more astonishing. 3i Atlas wasn't circling the sun, it was only visiting. Its path would cut through the heart of our solar system once, then vanish forever into the galactic sea. It came from far beyond Pluto, from a region of the Milky Way where stars are old and quiet, places where the light is dim and the cold never ends. Perhaps it was born near another sun, long extinguished. Perhaps it carries the dust of worlds that no longer exist. As it approached, every telescope on Earth turned toward it. NASA, ESA, observatories in Chile and Hawaii all watched the same green light crossing the void. A visitor older than the Earth itself, moving with the grace of inevitability. Scientists called it a chance of a century. Poets might call it a coincidence written by gravity. But to the rest of us, it was a reminder that space still sends gifts. Small, silent, and unrepeatable. 3i Atlas has no destination. It moves because that's what it has always done. Its journey isn't about where it's going, but about what it carries within. The frozen whispers of another world's beginning. Those three letters, 3i, hold more than classification. They hold the weight of wonder. A name for a traveler that reminds us how little we know and how much more there is to see. Every comet in our solar system follows a loop, a dance around the sun that repeats through time. But 3i Atlas doesn't dance. It cuts straight across like a visitor moving through a room it doesn't belong to. Its orbit is open, infinite. It came once, and it will never return. Astronomers describe its path as hyperbolic, but that word barely captures its beauty. Imagine a curve that touches the sun's pull for a brief moment, then escapes forever. A bow of light drawn across the darkness. Tension, release, silence. It entered the solar system from the side, not the usual north or south. Its path was nearly horizontal, gliding almost along the plane of the planets. From Earth, it looked like it was sweeping through the stars rather than diving among them. This sideways entrance made its motion even more graceful. Slowly, it carved a green arc through space, illuminated by sunlight that had traveled 8 minutes to reach it, a fragile connection between two worlds that would never meet again. Computers calculated that 3i Atlas was moving at nearly 58 kilometers per second, faster than any bound comet could ever travel. At that speed, it could cross the distance from Earth to the Moon in just over 2 hours, yet, in the silence of the cosmos, it felt like it was drifting. Its path carried it inside the orbit of Mars, a dangerous closeness, where the sun's warmth begins to awaken the ice within. As it neared, gases long asleep began to rise, wrapping the comet in a shimmering veil of light. Through telescopes, it looked alive, breathing, glowing, changing. A being made of rock and vapor, answering the call of the sun one last time before returning to the dark. Even with all their equations, scientists could not predict every move. 3i Atlas defied their models, brightening when it shouldn't, bending its tail against the solar wind, acting as though it remembered other suns, other skies. Its trajectory told a truth both humbling and poetic. Not everything that enters our world is meant to stay. Some things are just passing through, beautiful precisely because they don't belong. And so, through mathematics and mystery, 3i Atlas continued on its impossible path, quiet, relentless, a bridge between stars that may never meet again. From a distance, 3i Atlas looked like a small emerald drifting through space, its glow soft but deep. The green wasn't decoration, it was chemistry speaking the language of light. That color came from carbon. Tiny molecules of diatomic carbon, C2, glowing when sunlight touched them. Every flicker was a reaction, a memory of the time when atoms first met to form worlds. But this wasn't the carbon of our solar system. It was older, purer, forged in a star that may have died before the sun was even born. That's what made its light feel so ancient. It wasn't just shining, it was remembering. As it moved closer to the sun, the comet began to breathe. Frozen gases trapped for billions of years started to escape. Carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide vaporized first, gases so volatile they awaken in the cold, where water ice still sleeps. Most comets wait until they are near Jupiter's orbit to come alive. 3i Atlas began to stir long before that. It was as if the sun's touch reached deeper, waking something fragile and restless beneath its crust. Telescopes saw the change immediately. A faint haze appeared around it, its coma a cloud of dust and vapor spreading outward, catching sunlight and scattering it like silk. From Earth, it looked peaceful, but inside it was chaos. Jets of gas bursting through cracks, grains of dust lifting into space, layers of ice melting in slow motion. It was a world transforming in silence, and through that stillness, the green light deepened. It wasn't the violent blaze of a star or the bright flash of a nova. It was gentle, constant, like the pulse of something alive. Astronomers watched in awe. They were not just observing chemistry, they were watching a story written in frozen matter. A message from the beginning of the galaxy, carried across time, released at last in a whisper of light. In that glow, humanity could almost see its own reflection, the fragile warmth of life awakening in the cold vastness of space. The awakening of 3i Atlas began far beyond where sunlight should have mattered. It was too distant, too cold for any ordinary comet to stir. And yet something inside it had begun to change. At first, its brightness rose slowly. Then, without warning, it flared. A sudden, soft bloom of light, like a match igniting underwater. The space around it shimmered with the fine dust of its awakening. Scientists were puzzled. The sun's energy at that distance was weak, almost negligible. But 3i Atlas responded as if it had been waiting for that touch for eons. Perhaps its ice was different, made not of water but of more delicate materials. Carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, frozen methane, substances that evaporate in the cold where ordinary comets sleep. As these gases escaped, they carried dust from the surface, forming the glowing halo we call the coma. From that moment, the comet's journey became visible. Its light painted a delicate trail across the void, a bridge between silence and motion. It was the beginning of its transformation, from a silent stone drifting through the stars into a breathing body of vapor and light. The telescopes of the world turned toward it. The James Webb, the Hubble, observatories across Chile and Hawaii, all captured the same calm miracle, a comet that shouldn't be awake, shining in the darkness like it remembered the warmth of an ancient sun. For weeks, the coma expanded, stretching thousands of kilometers wide, its green light glowing against the black. The comet was shedding layers, revealing what time had hidden. Each particle that escaped was a fragment of history. Matter formed when the Milky Way was young, now drifting through our solar system for the first and last time. As it moved closer, the coma thickened like breath on glass. The light shimmered softly, fading and brightening in cycles that seemed almost rhythmic, like the slow heartbeat of a traveler remembering its home. And through it all, the silence remained. No sound, no chaos, just the calm unfolding of something ancient finding warmth again. It was more than a comet. It was a reminder that even in the coldest places, light always finds a way to wake what has slept for too long. The sun is distant, yet its warmth touches everything. Even a traveler from another star cannot escape its pull. As 3i Atlas drifted closer, the sunlight began to seep into its frozen heart. Layer by layer, the heat traveled through the ancient ice, waking molecules that hadn't moved for billions of years. There was no explosion, no drama, only the slow exhale of a world breathing again. Gases emerged from hidden cracks, forming soft jets that expanded into the vacuum like pale smoke underwater. From afar, telescopes captured the glow. The once small green point had grown a wide, luminous veil. This was its coma, its temporary atmosphere, a fragile cloud of gas and dust that made the comet shimmer like a ghost against the dark. In the silence of space, the process was delicate. The sunlight warmed the outer layers, and each new pulse of heat carried away more of its surface, grain by grain. The comet was unraveling, but beautifully. To the scientists watching, it was as though the sun had reached out a gentle hand, not to destroy, but to reveal. Each emission of gas told a story. What the comet was made of, where it was born, how it had slept for so long. Among the gases, there were hints of carbon, oxygen, and even complex organic molecules, the building blocks of life. The same elements that once shaped us, now shimmering in the wake of a wandering world. The sun wasn't just warming 3i Atlas, it was reading it, melting away its secrets, layer by layer, while the comet glowed softly in response. This was the breath of the sun, a dialogue written in light and ice between a star and a visitor from another sky. Every comet carries a tale, a trail of light born from dust and gas pushed by the solar wind. It always points away from the sun, a simple rule of celestial mechanics. But 3i Atlas, like everything about it, chose its own path. At first, astronomers noticed something strange. Its tail didn't follow the usual direction. For a few days, it seemed to turn toward the sun, defying the invisible stream of particles that should have swept it back. At first, they thought it was an illusion, an angle, a trick of light. But as more telescopes confirmed it, the truth became undeniable. The comet had formed an anti-tail, a tail that pointed the wrong way. The solar wind was weak at that time, almost resting. Without its full strength, heavier grains of dust released by the comet drifted freely, unaffected by the sun's push. Slowly, they arranged themselves into a pale ribbon reaching back toward the light. It was a quiet rebellion, not a burst of force, but a slow, graceful gesture. Against the rules, yet perfectly natural. Images from Chile, Hawaii, and Japan showed it clearly. Two delicate tails crossing like threads of silk. one pointing away from the sun, bright and ionized. The other, fainter, leaning toward it, made of heavier dust that refused to be moved. To look at it was to witness balance, chaos and calm woven together. Even the sun could not command everything. As the comet drew nearer, the anticale faded, replaced by the classic streaming arc of light stretching millions of kilometers across space. But for those who saw it, the memory remained, a visitor that, for a moment, ignored the wind. In that image, there was something profoundly human. The quiet defiance of something small, standing against something vast, not in anger, but in grace. The three-eye atlas continued its path, glowing green against the void, its twin tails dissolving slowly into the black. A fleeting sculpture of dust and light, painted by physics, shaped by time. Sometimes even the laws of the universe pause just long enough for beauty to break through. Far beyond Earth's orbit, Three-Eye Atlas passed the red planet. From the thin atmosphere of Mars, robotic eyes turned toward the green visitor. For the first time in history, a world that once might have hosted life watched a traveler from another star drift by. The images that arrived on Earth days later were soft and delicate. A pale emerald streak cut across the crimson sky, silent and slow. Dust storms swirled below while the comet glided above, untouched by gravity or wind. It wasn't a meeting of worlds, just a passing glance. Mars, ancient and quiet, looked upward, and the comet, ancient and restless, looked downward. Two wanderers acknowledging each other across billions of years of silence. Scientists studied the reflection of sunlight on the comet's coma. Even from that distance, it revealed new clues about the chemistry hidden within. Traces of metals, gases, and frozen carbon woven together in perfect balance. The encounter was brief, lasting only a few days. Then the green light moved on, leaving Mars behind in its red solitude. No mark, no trace, just a memory of color fading into the thin Martian dusk. For the people watching from Earth, the image lingered. The red planet and the green comet, two symbols of everything we still don't understand about life, time, and distance. In the stillness of that crossing, the universe seemed to whisper. Not all connections require words. Some exist only in the quiet meeting of light and shadow. As Three-Eye Atlas approached the sun, its glow became almost unreal. The soft green deepened, wrapped in golden light, like jade melting into fire. Every second, sunlight struck its frozen surface, stripping away ancient layers that had never known warmth. At this distance, the solar heat was fierce, hot enough to vaporize iron, to bend the magnetic fields that weave through space. And yet, the comet didn't shatter. It adapted, releasing its gases in slow, rhythmic waves as though breathing through the heat. Cameras from across the world followed the scene. Through telescopes, it looked like a small, living flame trailing a river of light. Each moment, more of its material dissolved, but with it came knowledge, the fingerprints of elements that predate our sun. This was the perihelion, the closest point of its journey, the moment when it touched light and survived. Scientists waited for signs of disintegration, but instead they saw resilience. The Three-Eye Atlas endured, even as it was consumed. For a few hours its brilliance rivaled the stars. It became a bridge between creation and decay, burning quietly against the roar of the solar wind. And then, as it began to move away, the glow softened. The violent light gave way to calm again. The comet had met the sun, shared its secrets, and was now returning to the cold, carrying warmth in its silence. The universe exhaled. The traveler continued on its path, lighter now, but eternal. When 3i Atlas passed the Sun, its light began to fade. The once brilliant glow softened, like a lantern dimming after the flame has done its work. The heat that had awakened it now urged it back towards stillness. From Earth, the comet slowly disappeared into the radiance of the Sun. For several days, no telescope could see it. It was as if it had been swallowed by light, not destroyed, but hidden, wrapped in silence. Scientists waited. The data stream went quiet, the images blank. No one knew if the traveler had survived its encounter, or if it had dissolved into dust too fine for any lens to catch. It was a waiting filled not with anxiety but with awe, a respectful pause before knowing. Then, one by one, the instruments began to detect faint traces, a thin signature, a whisper of light emerging again from behind the Sun. The traveler was still there, smaller, fainter, but alive. Its coma had thinned, its tail stretched longer, as if tired from the crossing. What remained was a quieter beauty, a ghost of its former self, serene and silver against the black. It drifted now through the inner system, slower, gentler, as though each moment were an exhale. The bright green had softened into white, like frost melting under dawn light. The universe doesn't rush its stories. Even after the brightest moment there is peace. And in that peace the comet continued on, its silence speaking louder than its light ever had. 3i Atlas was leaving now. Its orbit, long and wide, carried it past the reach of the planets, back toward the deep, where gravity grows faint and stars are only distant echoes. No longer the vivid emerald that first entered our skies, it was now a pale thread of light, fading slowly into the horizon of space. It had given its secrets to sunlight, to telescopes, to time itself, and now asked for nothing in return. The data it left behind told the story of its making. Gases older than the Sun, metals born in ancient supernovas, dust that might once have floated near another star. It wasn't just an object, it was a record, the handwriting of the cosmos on a page of ice. As it passed the orbit of Jupiter, its glow dimmed beyond sight. Only sensors could feel it now, a faint signal, weaker with every hour. But in that quiet, the comet was finally home again, returning to the same emptiness it came from. The astronomers who had followed it felt a kind of sadness. The sky had one less light to watch, but also a kind of gratitude to have been here when it passed, to have witnessed a story that won't happen again for millions of years. 3i Atlas was never meant to stay. It came, it shone, and it left. A reminder that beauty often exists only in the briefness of its visit, and somewhere in the dark between stars, it continues its journey. Slowly, quietly, a green ember fading into infinity. If one day another world looks up, perhaps it will see a faint, familiar glow, and wonder who once watched it pass in a small corner of another sky. Long after 3i Atlas faded from view, its memory lingered, not in brightness, but in data, in the lines of light recorded by cameras across the world. Every spectrum, every pixel, every trace of green was preserved, waiting for minds to decipher what the cosmos had whispered. Scientists studied those fragments as if reading the pages of an ancient book. Each molecule of gas told a story, where it came from, what it endured, how long it had traveled through the dark. In those numbers, they found clues about the first moments of our galaxy, the chemistry of beginnings. For astronomers, 3i Atlas became more than a comet. It became a messenger from another time, proof that matter travels endlessly, weaving through star systems, carrying the dust of creation from one corner of the universe to another. But its legacy wasn't just scientific. For many who watched it, Even through blurry photographs or small telescopes, the feeling was personal. There was something comforting about knowing that a piece of another world had crossed our sky. Not to threaten, not to change, but simply to be seen. Its calm passage reminded us that not all visitors arrive with noise or fire. Some come in peace, shining for a moment before moving on, leaving us to wonder what else drifts out there, unseen. And perhaps that is its true legacy, to remind humanity that curiosity itself is a kind of light, a flame that burns quietly inside us, asking questions no boundary of space can contain. The comet may be gone, but its glow continues, not in the heavens, but in the thoughts of those who still look up and remember. Somewhere, beyond the pull of the sun, 3i Atlas moves through a silence so vast that time seems to stand still. Its green light is faint now, only a whisper against the eternal dark. But every particle of dust it carries holds the story of its home, a place of cold suns, quiet orbits, and ancient light. If it could speak, perhaps it would tell us that the universe is not empty, only quiet. That every grain of matter remembers where it came from, and every beam of light eventually finds another to meet. The journey of 3i Atlas reminds us that even the most distant travelers are connected. Stars, planets, comets, all share the same breath, the same cosmic dust, the same rhythm of creation and return. And we on this small blue world are part of that same story. We look up, we wonder, and for a brief moment we become part of the same infinity that sent the traveler our way. The message was never written in words, it was written in movement, in a path that crossed our sky and disappeared beyond reach. A gentle reminder that not all beauty stays. Some simply passes through softly enough to make us listen. Now the traveler is gone, but the space it crossed feels different, as if the universe itself exhaled a secret and let it drift across our dreams. So when you look at the night sky and see a streak of light, remember this. It might be 3i Atlas, far beyond the sun, still shining faintly, still carrying the message that began long before us, that even in silence, the universe is always speaking.